On day 21, we visited Lisbon in Portugal. It is the capital and largest city of Portugal. It lies on the westernmost portion of the Iberian Peninsula on river Tagus. It is one of the oldest cities, and we booked a shore excursion to Lisbon and Estoril. So the bus took us through the streets of Lisbon first and then to Estoril. In Estoril, we saw beautiful beaches and spent around 1.5 hours there. Lisbon has a population of around 500k, and it has so many hillsides overlooking the city, and is a picture perfect panorama of cobbled alleyways, ancient ruins, and white domed cathedrals. And this has been built over the centuries.
Here into Lisbon. Entering, it's about 6:15 in the morning, and there's a bridge here, and then you can see this big structure. There's a Jesus Christ, like in Sao Paulo Zoo, on top of the mountain. That is a building, cement structure, and it's not very clear, but I'll take another picture at sunrise at 7:15 or so. Entering Lisbon port. Hopefully the ship is docked on this side so we can see the Okay, Lisbon, Portugal port. There we go. From the 11th deck. Right at the port. Another cruise here. We have an excursion here, Lisbon and Estoril, in about an hour. Plane landing, you can see like how the city, on top, hilly. And there's the aircraft. They're landing, running behind. behind and gone.
Going straight to Estoril. After the time in Estoril, we'll be coming back to Lisbon and having a stop by the paternal discoveries in the Belém neighborhood, already in Lisbon, and then back to the ship. So, as I said, quite simple tour to get out of the terminal. Well, I can give you some. The cathedral was started to be built in 1147, right after the conquest of Lisbon by our first king, Afonso I. And below it, a little bit to the right, there is this house with very So it seems we have a traffic jam to get on touring today. If you look ahead, you buy. Later on, because the Romans were enemies with one of the forefathers of our nationality, although Portugal was not a nation, not even close by then, but this is kind of considered national hero still. After, well, for some centuries, this area, this is the old Alfama neighborhood, the oldest neighborhood in Lisbon. This is one of the biggest squares, because this neighborhood was founded, was the very first neighborhood in the city of Eastern Limit. Now it's the Western Limit, and there are some significant buildings that we can see from here. Right, that cathedral was started to be built in 1147, right after the conquest of Lisbon by our first king, Afonso I. And below it, a little bit to the right, there is this house with very strange or very peculiar front, which is the House of Spikes, in Portuguese Casa dos Bicos. It was a building that was built in the 16th century, belonged to a very important noble family in Portugal, the Albuquerques, and it was able to resist the big earthquake that destroyed most of this central part. Later, already in the latest part of the 20th century, it was renovated, keeping the original facade, and today it's the home of the Saramago Foundation. Saramago Foundation, it's dedicated to the works of José Saramago, the only Portuguese writer to have won the Literature Nobel Prize. So that is dedicated to his work. He died already some years ago, quite old age, in his 80s, and he left a big number of books that he wrote. Quite a lot of traffic. Let's see if we can get rid of it as fast as we can. Well, most of it is going that direction, so
That's good.
we're going different direction, hopefully with less traffic. So we can have a closer look to this House of Spikes. The name comes from these spikes, stone spikes you can see in the front of the building. All this area was destroyed in the big earthquake of the 1st of November of 1755. So our Prime Minister by then, Marquis de Pombal, the man of progress, he decided that the wider streets with parallel and perpendicular shapes. So it's quite modern, or it was quite modern when it was built at the end of the 18th century. This, as you can see here, streets are, even going up, streets are straight and wide. This earthquake killed it. It was an holy day, 1st of November, so the churches were full of candles, and those candles started to fire and destroyed a lot of what was not destroyed by the earthquake. So that day was really, really, really tragic. In the middle of all this tragedy and loss of lives, there was one positive thing, that was this possibility to wide streets and very well organized in terms of urban planning, which was not very normal those days. This is an alternative route because one of the main streets of the downtown, the Silver Street, collapsed last November. There was a day with heavy rain, with floods, and a cement truck was passing that street, probably on the way to one of those construction works, and the street just collapsed and has been closed for repairs ever since. So extensive repairs because of this day. There was even a mini tornado to a different part of the city, so it was quite an hard day here in Lisbon. I was touring that day, and I was doing a walking tour, and I had to call a bus to pick up the tourists because, well, we couldn't move. It was raining so hard that we really couldn't move. Anyway, all these construction works you can see in Lisbon, they are not all for the same reason. You can see a lot of buildings being of the value of property. A lot of owners that have older buildings decided to renovate them, to sell them, or to use them to rent for tourism. Larger buildings that have been renovated are turned into hotels, especially in this central area. Suburb cities with the industrial part of Barreiro City and Almada and so on, those cities located on the other side of the river that people live and come to work in Lisbon, as I said before, in this area, using a lot of this catamaran boats to connect both sides of the river, or the both bridges that we have here in Lisbon, Vasco da Gama Bridge to the east and the 25th of April Bridge that we have seen to the west. This dark red building is Santa Apollonia train station. It was recently painted in dark red because it was light blue, like this wall here. But it was painted in dark red because a new hotel was inaugurated in the upper part of the train station. So it's the, I don't remember the name. Riverside. Okay. Iberian Riverside Hotel. So this was kind of 2 years ago, very recent, so it was repainted because of that. This is the train station that connects Lisbon with the northern part of the country by using these lines to the north. The building with the columns, quite beautiful building, now covered by these placards because of the works of enlarging the tunnels. This is the Army Museum. I don't know if it is possible to be visited. It's quite a beautiful
not today.
museum, quite interesting, but well surrounded by this. I'm not even sure if it is open.
Closed, I think.
Named after it. This line here, this queue, is waiting for the 28 tram. Public transportation, this is kind of impossible to do. It's the most famous tram in Lisbon, so when tourists came in, a lot of time they already have seen in the brochures that the 28 tram is the most popular one, so everybody wants to ride it. And you see, it's good to go there, so I was having bad luck, really bad luck. Anyway, now we are on the left, yes, yeah. That was conquered in 1147, as I said before, by our first king of 4 centuries, when were all lost. This is Figueira Square, which is Fig Tree Square. It's one of the other squares, important squares of the center of the city. This square usually has a market here in the middle, very often, and the man on top of the horse, King João I, first king of the second dynasty, and it was quite important because with him started the golden age of Portuguese history. Henry the Navigator was his third son. We call it to his offspring, we call it Inclita Geração, which is something like brilliant generation, or the guy that was making things happen. This is Rossio neighborhood.
Rossio.
The second most important square in the downtown. You can see many tourist groups around. Notice the wavy and the statue over there is Second National Theatre, this building that is being renovated with the columns, and she was the daughter of Pedro. This building was inaugurated on her 26th birthday in 1847, and it has been working as the National Theatre, the most important theatre in Portugal ever since. The building right in front of us, in a short while on our left, it's not a cathedral, it's not a church, although it looks like it, because churches don't have Starbucks on the ground floor. This is a train station that was built in neo-Manuelin style, that is a modern variation of the Manuelin style of the 16th century, and inside it's a common train station, but the outside is quite beautiful with this architectonic style. That Art Nouveau building on the left side, that was the former Cinema Eden cinema or theater, worked with both purposes, and these days it's not exactly having the same purpose. The lower part is a mango store, the upper part is an apartment hotel, so not exactly a place for shows anymore. The obelisk in the center, it's dedicated, well, this is restauradores, which means someone that restores. It's dedicated to those that restored Portuguese independence that we lost between 1580 and 1640 to Spain. After restoring it, there were 28 long years of war against Spain until they recognized Portugal. Here we have another former cinema Condes, Hard Rock Cafe, operating here from the 90s, and it is quite an interesting Hard Rock Cafe, because when we go in, I haven't seen that anywhere. When we go in, we look up and you can see a convertible classic car hanging from the ceiling. That is not very normal, but they have it inside. As I said, it was a former cinema Condes. Now we are going up Freedom Avenue. That was formerly the city park, and when they decided to urbanize it at the end of the 19th century, they moved the park to the north, so they built this avenue, which has a lot of international store brands on both sides and also hotels. This is the monument of the First World War right here, honoring the Portuguese soldiers that fought in the three fronts on the Allied side, in France and in Africa, Angola and Mozambique fronts against the German army. The building behind it, it's the Embassy of Spain. You can see the Spanish flag just outside the building. As I was saying, this is a place that has... about you asking about commercial area. This is the commercial area, and then I'll give you the indications when you get to the terminal. So this part brands on both sides. It's just looking Louis Vuitton and so on, so it's quite an interesting pass right over there. It's shopping area, I guess. You can see in Timberland, you name it, they're all here. Also a place with many hotels around. Notice the cobblestone with these patterns. This cobblestone, you can find it everywhere in the country because it's a Portuguese traditional thing. In the residential areas, well, it's plain white. But when you come to the noble areas of the cities, you have this artistic approach to the cobblestone, and in this case we have this sort of flowers. And you can see the wavy effect right there on the Rossio Square that represents the ocean. It's probably the most famous form of cobblestone. Square, there is a statue of a man with a lion on his left side. That man is Marquis de Pombal. It was this Prime Minister that I talked about previously, the one that requests products that we were buying mostly from England. So this man, he founded ceramic factories, glass factories, cloth factories. So because they had the education system in their hands and they were teaching according to theology, and he wanted the teaching to be done according to science. You can see there's him up there on the top of the statue. In Africa, between Portugal and England, the territory between our colonies of Angola and Mozambique, and the territory that could connect South Africa to Egypt, British colonies or protectorates. Well, England was stronger, so they got the territory, and Portuguese people were really, really upset about it. Though that was the time when colony. And this monument, until very recently, it was covered by a structure, and well, it was not really very possible to get the nicest photos because of this structure. I hope they removed it already.
There we go. That's the botanical. There's a botanical garden from King Edward, from Park, the maze and construction. There's like construction going on.
Are being born, but this has been compensated by from Ukraine. There was a first wave coming at the end of the Soviet Union, and then now with the war in Ukraine, moved to Portugal when they become pensioners.
We are in Estroli. The bus drops Estroli. Just dropped here. We have an hour, and the beach is right behind those structures and all the cafe and shops. That's the entrance here, the entrance to the beach. All right. Oh, there's a castle on that side. Gas station, 1.91 euros, I guess. There we go. Go. To the beach. To the beach. And the beach. Estroli. Yeah, we'll take that. A lot of kids here enjoying. The beach. To the beach. Constantinople. Constant.
All year. Sometimes they come out into the ocean, but they always come back. They always come back to the river. Last time I counted because there is a place that they keep track of all the family, of all the community. It is a little, well, it's long, not extremely long beach, but it's long. At the other end, there is the São Julião da Barra fortress, not the one that I told before, because that's Santo António da Barra, the one where Salazar used to stay. This is São Julião da Barra. It's the largest fortress by the coast in Portugal, and this is the official residence of the Minister of Defense in Portugal. So sometimes there are these ceremonies or events that take place inside that fortress. There was at least one defense minister that really made this place not his official home but his real home. So he was living, and it was replaced by this academy. So people that study, this is cleaner than this one because this one comes from the river. This is another beach, Santa Mar de Oeiras, another of the beaches of this area. Oeiras, as I said, the name of the town here. Lighthouse right there. As I said, that's the place where the river ends and the ocean begins. Because there was a sandbank there, or there is a sandbank there, and it just built it on top of the sandbank. It was used as a fortress for some time, but now it's just a lighthouse. Another one of those fortresses that you can see everywhere, one right here. It's hard to memorize the names of all of them because there are plenty. Another perspective from what I told you about in the beginning of the tour, and they are still operating these days. The peninsula on the other side, the Setúbal Peninsula, was the place that got a lot industrialized during the 1960s. But then some of the industry that was kind of a mysterious name, it is the, let me guess, oh, it's written there. It's some military equipment on the inside, some Alouette helicopters, some tanks and some guns and so on. So this is military museum, the Soldiers Museum, and the monument, the memorial for the Portuguese soldiers that died in the wars in Africa, colonial wars. You can see those there, and the wall has the written name of all those that died in these wars. The flags on the sides, you can, from the first Portuguese flag that looks like Finland with just a blue cross, to the last one, F blue, F white, the last flag of Portugal in the monarchy, then was replaced with the Republic with totally different colors, just red and green colors, which are the national colors these days. And in a short while we'll be able to see Belém Tower right here, formerly known as St. Vincent Tower, quite beautiful for a fortress. Looks more like a palace. It was built between 1514 and 1520, so just 6 years, designed by the same architect that designed the Hieronymus. Thousands of tourists come every single day to visit it. Always, big trouble, the Portuguese discoveries. It is a monument with statues on both sides that you'll be able to see. It is built in limestone, and it is a version of a previous one that looked exactly the same but was made of wood and plaster, that was built for the Portuguese World Exhibition of 1940. So that one was started to be damaged with time, and they decided to build a more permanent version of the same building. So involved in this epopee of the discoveries. It's also quite a popular place. You can see the buses parked there, and this is the popular art museum right here on the right side. On the left side we have Lisbon Cultural Center, which was built initially for the first presidency of the first Portuguese presidency of the European Union, and it was inaugurated in the late 90s. This building right here on the left side. So we'll be parking here for 10-15 minutes for photos, and as soon as our driver can find a place where we can go out, we'll be going to visit the surroundings of the
பத்து நிமிஷத்தில் எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாது.
சரிங்க, போகலாம் சீக்கிரம்.
ரொம்ப பெருசாக போயிட்டு போட் Vasco da Gama went to a drama. This is a favorite tourist spot here, like all the tuk-tuks. Here's the tuk-tuk. Lot of tuk-tuks. Oh, there goes the train, man. This is the monument, eh? Some specials.
Now we have a closer look of the 25th of April bridge. You can see how similar it looks to Golden Gate Bridge.
Or Lionsgate.
Oh, it was the same company. I believe the project had very few changes because it really looks similar. I was never in San Francisco, but I could see photos and it really looks similar. Yeah. Yes. Just 30 years younger sister. It was inaugurated in 1966, I think I told it before. And, well, babies. So she made a promise to God that she would build a big religious monument, this basilica, if she could deliver an healthy child, which she did. So she was building the basilica that you'll be able to see in some moments to the right side, and at the end of her life she decided not to go to the Pantheon where the rest of her family, the first dynasty, is buried. So this is basilica, Estrela Basilica. Estrela means star. It was built because of this promise she made to God. Yeah, conspiracy theories said that Portuguese already knew that Brazil was there and it was just the official discovery. When we arrived, another one arrived. So
No, there was three.
No, we're very, very close.
Fourth one.
But what is really tough is to take all this way around in order to reach this part. Saldanha, one of the generals that won the Civil War of 1832 to 1834, when the liberals and the absolutists fought against each other, and obviously he was on the winning side. That's why the neighbor wouldn't put the statue there. He was a general of the liberals. first wave coming at the end of the Soviet Union, and then now with the war, that community of dolphins that just live there. They stay there all year. Sometimes they come out into the ocean, but they always come back. They always come back to the river. Last time I counted, because there is a place that they keep track of all the family, of all the community. It is a little, well, it's long, not extremely long beach, but it's long. At the other end, there is the São Julião da Barra fortress, not the one that I told before, because that's Santo António da Barra, the one where Salazar used to stay. This is São Julião da Barra. It's the largest fortress by the coast in Portugal, and this is the official residence of the Minister of Defense in Portugal. So sometimes there are these ceremonies or events that take place inside that fortress. There was at least one defense minister that really made this place not his official home, but his real home. So it was cleaner than this one, because this one comes from the river. This is another beach, Santa Mar de Oeiras, another of the beaches of this area. Oeiras, as I said, the name of the town here.
And down, hilly, like San Francisco. Cable car, everything. Alright, we're here. Almost there. Almost there, near the bridge. Bye bye, Lisbon. Slowly approaching the bridge. Slowly. San Francisco Bridge, Golden Gate. They painted it red. Third ship. Yeah. That shift or something, the embassy is behind, and getting close. That's the MSC that's following us. So now you'll see the statue, this monument that we filmed earlier when we were doing the bus tour. It's an opera house, they said, the modern. And a little further is that. That's the one. See this pass under the bridge. Embassy is following us. Now they've taken over. I mean, they are already almost, in tandem with us. It looks like they have, I don't know where they're going, but they are going fast.
End of day 21. Hope you enjoyed the city of Lisbon and coastal city of Estoril with beautiful beaches. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.